You are standing in the driveway, or perhaps looking at a bank statement that doesn't make sense, and you realize the life you built for 20 years is being liquidated for a cliché. He has bought the sports car. He has joined the gym with a fanaticism that borders on mania. He is dressing like a man half his age, wearing clothes that look ridiculous on a body that is clearly aging. Society calls this a midlife crisis. They make jokes about it in movies. They tell you he is just finding himself or dealing with his mortality. But you feel a sickness in your gut that tells you this isn't a crisis of identity, it is a crisis of morality. You are watching a man burn down his family home just to warm his hands on the flames of a new, temporary fantasy. We need to strip away the Hollywood veneer of the midlife crisis and look at the predator underneath. This is not about a sudden desire for a convertible or a motorcycle. Those are just props in a stage play he is writing to convince himself he isn't dying. For the narcissist, the midlife crisis is not an existential questioning of purpose, it is a supply crisis. It is a panic attack induced by the realization that his primary sources of validation, his youth, his looks, his perceived unlimited potential, are drying up. He isn't looking for a faster car, he is looking for a faster way to get the dopamine hit that you, with your reality and your shared history, can no longer provide. To understand why he is acting this way, you have to understand the terrifying concept of narcissistic mortification. For a normal person, aging is a natural process of maturing. For a narcissist, aging is a personal insult. It is a visible, undeniable proof that he is not God. Every gray hair, every ache in his back, every younger man who gets the promotion over him is a narcissistic injury. The sports car isn't a vehicle, it is a prosthetic limb for his ego. He believes that if he surrounds himself with objects of speed and power, he can outrun the one thing he is truly terrified of, his own irrelevance. He is trying to buy back the time he wasted being an empty shell. The most painful part for you is the erasure. He isn't just buying new things, he is actively deleting the old things, including you. You represent the witness to his aging. You have seen him with the flu. You have seen him fail. You know the truth about his finances and his insecurities. Because you know the real him, you are now the enemy. He needs to replace you with a new supply who doesn't have the history, someone who will look at his dyed hair and his leased car and see a powerful king, not a desperate old man in a costume. He is trading a witness for a fan, because a fan doesn't ask difficult questions about the mortgage. This script is going to dismantle the myth that he is living his best life. I am going to show you the frantic, sweaty desperation behind the sunglasses. We are going to expose the financial ruin he is courting, the shallow nature of his new relationships, and the absolute void he is trying to fill with horsepower and hair gel. You are going to see that he hasn't escaped the prison of his miserable personality, he has just painted the cell walls a brighter color. He is running on fumes, and the crash is not a possibility, it is a mathematical certainty. You need to prepare yourself for the rewrite of history. Part of this crisis involves him telling everyone, his friends, his family, his new supply, that he was never happy with you. He will claim he was trapped, suffocated, or bored for decades. This is a lie designed to justify his abandonment. He has to villainize you to protect his fragile self-image. If he admits that you were a good wife and he left you for a toy, he is the bad guy. If he invents a story where you were a dungeon master and he is the escaped prisoner, he gets to play the hero. We will explore the addiction to novelty. The midlife narcissist is essentially a junkie looking for a new vein because the old ones have collapsed. The new car, the new hobbies, the new woman, these are just spikes of intensity. He mistakes adrenaline for intimacy. He mistakes excitement for happiness. But just like any addict, his tolerance is high. The car will get a scratch. The new woman will have a bad day. The hobby will get hard. And when the novelty wears off, the rage will return, darker and more dangerous than before. I want you to feel the shift in power that comes from knowing the truth. You are not the discarded leftovers, you are the one who escaped the burning building. He is the arsonist who trapped himself inside. While he is frantically trying to curate an Instagram life that proves he is still relevant, you are going to be building a life based on reality, depth, and actual connection. He is chasing a ghost, the ghost of his youth, and it is a race he is destined to lose. By the end of this analysis, you will stop looking at his behavior with hurt and start looking at it with clinical detachment. You will see the crisis for what it really is, a temper tantrum against time. He is a child screaming because the party is over and the lights are coming on. You don't need to envy the man who is terrified of the dark. You need to lock the door and let him scream outside. So, let's take a sledgehammer to the glossy image he is presenting to the world. Let's look under the hood of this midlife crisis and see the rusted, broken engine of a man who has run out of soul. He thinks he is accelerating into a new future, but he is actually driving off a cliff. Let's break down the supply deficit that triggers this madness. For decades, he relied on somatic supply, his looks, his strength, his sexual prowess, or cerebral supply, his intellect, his career success. Midlife attacks both. His body softens. His career plateaus or he retires. The automatic validation he got from the world starts to dwindle. He feels the supply dropping like oxygen levels in a depressurized cabin. The sports car, the affair, the sudden reckless spending, these are his oxygen masks. He is gasping for air, not realizing he is suffocating on his own ego. You must understand the objectification of the vehicle. To a narcissist, the car is not a mode of transport. It is a self-object. He does not differentiate between himself and the machine. He believes that the power of the engine is his power. He believes the shine of the paint is his shine. When people stare at the car, he believes they are staring at him. It is a pathetic attempt to merge with something powerful because he feels internally powerless. He is wearing the car like a suit of armor to hide the shivering child inside. The devaluation of stability is a hallmark of this phase. He suddenly hates everything that is stable, the house, the marriage, the routine. Stability feels like death to a narcissist because stability requires sitting still with oneself. And when a narcissist sits still, the demons come out. He needs chaos. He needs motion. He needs the wind in his hair to drown out the whispers of his own inadequacy. He destroys the peace you built because peace is a mirror he cannot bear to look into. He engages in magical thinking regarding his finances. He will drain the 401k. He will take out a second mortgage. He will spend the children's college fund. Why? Because he truly believes he is special. He believes he will live forever, or that a big deal is just around the corner that will fix everything. He sacrifices the family's future security to buy a present-day costume. He is financially cannibalizing his own life to feed the delusion that he is a wealthy playboy. The new supply is almost always a prop. If he pursues a younger woman, it is not because he has a connection with her. It is because she is a mirror that reflects a younger version of himself. He doesn't want to know her, he wants to be her. He wants to consume her youth. He parades her around like the sports car. She is an accessory to signal to other men that he is still an alpha. But the moment she demands emotional intimacy or asks him to act his age, she will be discarded just as ruthlessly as you were. We need to talk about the disconnection from reality. During this crisis, he may seem delusional. He might start a band, write a screenplay, or decide he's going to be a professional athlete at 50. He surrounds himself with yes men, or sycophants who will feed this delusion for a price. He cuts off anyone, especially you, who tries to be the voice of reason. You saying we can't afford this translates in his mind to I want you to die. Reality is the enemy, and you are its messenger. The rage of the impotent. I mean this both literally and metaphorically. As his power fades, his rage increases. He screams at waitresses. He has road rage in his fancy car. He belittles his children. This rage is a cover for shame. He knows, deep down, that the car is a lie. He knows he looks foolish. And he hates the world for witnessing his decline. He wants to punish everyone for the crime of seeing him as an ordinary, aging man. He experiences time panic. He suddenly realizes he has more years behind him than ahead of him. For a narcissist who hasn't achieved the grandiose fame he thinks he deserves, this is a psychological emergency. He tries to cram a lifetime of living into a few months. He is manic. He is frantic. He creates a whirlwind of activity that looks like fun from the outside but feels like panic from the inside. He is running a marathon at a sprint pace, and his heart cannot take it. The smear campaign becomes his primary defense. To justify the destruction of his family for a car and a fling, he has to paint himself as the victim. She let herself go. She was boring. She never supported my dreams. He projects his own emptiness onto you. He accuses you of being the one who killed his spirit, when in reality, he never had a spirit to kill. He needs the world to validate his choices, so he must assassinate your character to secure their approval. Ultimately, it is a crisis of the void. The midlife crisis is the moment the narcissist looks into the abyss of his own soul and sees nothing. No legacy of love. No real connections. Just a series of transactions and masks. The car, the clothes, the affairs, these are items he throws into the abyss, hoping to fill it up. But the abyss is bottomless. He is shovel-feeding his resources into a black hole, and he will bankrupt his life trying to plug the leak. Then comes the dramatic turning point. The high wears off. The new car smell fades, literally and metaphorically. The dopamine hit he got from signing the papers or picking up the new girlfriend dissipates. He wakes up one Tuesday morning, looks around his bachelor pad or his new life, and realizes he is still him. The geography has changed, the props have changed, but the misery remains. This is the crash. It is inevitable. The payments on the car become a burden. The younger girlfriend gets bored or demands things he cannot give, like children or energy. The friends he bought with expensive dinners stop calling when the credit card gets declined. The fantasy collides with reality, and the wreckage is total. He is left standing in the ruins of the life he blew up, holding the keys to a car that can't drive him away from himself. He attempts a reverse Hoover. He might not call you directly, but he will make sure you know he is suffering. He will post sad songs. He will have health scares. He wants you to see him as a tragic figure, a fallen Icarus who flew too close to the sun. He wants to extract supply from your pity because he can no longer extract it from your envy. He wants you to validate that he is still important enough to be mourned. You might see him rage quit the new life. He sells the car at a loss. He dumps the girlfriend and blames her for using him. He tries to pivot back to the family man persona, claiming he lost his way and has found God or found himself. Do not be fooled. This isn't repentance, it's a strategic retreat. He is coming back to base to refuel because he ran out of gas in the wild. The physical toll becomes visible. The stress of maintaining the facade ages him rapidly. The partying, the steroids, the surgeries, they take a toll. He starts to look grotesque, like a caricature of youth. The cool guy becomes the creepy guy. He becomes the man at the bar that young women laugh at, not with. The very image he tried to save is destroyed by his frantic attempts to save it. He realizes he has become a cliché. Narcissists pride themselves on being unique, special, above the herd. But in his midlife crisis, he has followed the most predictable, boring, common script in the book. Everyone saw it coming. Everyone laughs at the predictability of it. This realization, that he is just another basic, aging man acting out, causes a massive narcissistic injury. He is common. And for him, being common is worse than being dead. The financial reality check hits like a freight train. He realizes he has ruined his retirement. He has legally entangled himself with debt he cannot service. He faces his twilight years not as the wealthy patriarch, but as a broke, lonely man living in a small apartment. The poverty he courted by trying to look rich becomes his actual reality. He traded his security for a spotlight, and now the power has been cut. He tries to rewrite the narrative again. I didn't want that car anyway, it was a bad investment. That girl was crazy, I was trying to save her. He spins the failure as a choice. He refuses to take accountability for the destruction. He gaslights himself into believing that the crash was just another adventure. He protects his ego from the truth even as his life burns down around him. You watch this from a distance, and you feel a strange sense of detachment. You see the car, and it doesn't look like freedom anymore, it looks like a coffin. You see the new woman, and you don't feel jealousy, you feel sympathy for the hell she is trapped in. You realize that his crisis was the best thing that ever happened to you, because it forced him to leave the building so you could finally lock the door. The turning point is the moment you realize that he will never be satisfied. If the car didn't fix it, if the woman didn't fix it, if the money didn't fix it, nothing will. He is a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour the entire ocean into him, and he will still be empty. And you stop trying to fill the bucket. Now we enter the collapse and consequences. The narcissist, stripped of his new toys and his old stability, enters a phase of sullen malignance. He becomes the bitter old man who hates everything. He hates the young for being young. He hates the happy for being happy. He hates you for surviving him. He sits in his expensive car, in traffic, screaming at the world, trapped in a metal box of his own making. He engages in social parasitism. He burns bridges with successful friends who remind him of his failure and starts hanging out with people below him, people he can dominate, people who will be impressed by his fading glitter. He becomes the big fish in a very small, dirty pond. He surrounds himself with losers so he can feel like a winner by comparison. The loneliness of the long-distance narcissist. Without a family to ground him, because he destroyed it, and without real friends, because he used them, he is profoundly alone. The silence of his life is deafening. He turns up the radio in the sports car to drown it out, but he can still hear it. He drives aimlessly, looking for a destination that doesn't exist. He becomes the cautionary tale. His children, if he has them, look at him with embarrassment. He is the dad who tried too hard and failed. He loses the respect of his lineage. He wanted to be the cool dad, he became the joke. He eroded his legacy for a leather interior. The health crash often follows the lifestyle crash. The stress, the substances, the rage, it manifests in heart attacks, strokes, or chronic pain. The body he worshipped betrays him. He ends up dependent on the very healthcare system he mocked. He ends up needing care from the people he discarded. And often, he finds that no one is there to answer the call. He tries to blame the object. He blames the car for being a lemon. He blames the gym for injuring him. He blames the city for being boring. He externalizes the internal failure. He moves towns, changes jobs, swaps cars again. He is rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, convinced that if he just finds the right chair, the ship won't sink. You might see a final extinction burst. He does something truly reckless, a DUI, a massive gambling loss, a public altercation. He is screaming for attention. Look at me. I matter. I am dangerous. He would rather be arrested than ignored. He destroys his reputation completely in a final act of ego preservation. He settles into the grumble. The high-energy mania fades into a low-energy, constant complaint. He complains about the government, the weather, the service. He becomes a psychic vampire, draining the energy of anyone who makes eye contact. He is a black hole on legs, consuming light and giving back nothing but darkness. The mirror becomes his enemy. He stops looking. He avoids reflections. He cannot bear to see the face of the man who threw it all away. He lives in denial, telling stories of his past glories to strangers who are just waiting for him to stop talking so they can leave. He is left with stuff but no self. He has the watch, the car, the shoes. But there is no human being inside the clothes. He is a mannequin in a shop window, dressed perfectly, but frozen, hollow, and ultimately, for sale to the highest bidder. The final truth, his midlife crisis was never about finding happiness. It was about escaping the truth. He ran 100 miles per hour to get away from himself, but he took himself with him. He is the driver and the passenger of his own wreck. You are not the loser. Society tells women they lost their husband to a younger model. No. You lost a parasite. You lost a dead weight. You lost a man who was incapable of growing up. You gained your freedom. You gained the space to breathe. The car is a coffin. When you see him in that ridiculous vehicle, don't see power. See a hearse. He is driving his own ego to the funeral. He is burying his potential under layers of chrome and plastic. Supply is a drug. And he is an addict in the final stages. Do not envy the addict his high. You know the come down is brutal. You know the withdrawal is hell. Stay sober. Stay real. Let him drive away. Let him speed off into the sunset. He isn't going to a better place, he is going to a mirage. You stay here, on solid ground, and build a castle that actually stands. Aging is a privilege. He treats it like a curse. You treat it like a victory. You survived him. You are growing wiser, stronger, deeper. He is just getting older. There is a difference. Indifference is your key. The moment you stop caring about his crisis is the moment the crisis stops hurting you. Let him be a clown. You don't have to watch the circus anymore. He will never arrive. He is driving in circles. He is chasing a horizon that moves away as he approaches. He is destined to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere. You have already arrived. You are home. You are safe. You are enough. You don't need a prop to prove your worth. You are the real deal. The car is flashy. The noise is loud. But inside, it is empty. And you? You are full. Drive on.